Thanks for joining me today. On today's show, we'll be talking with a friend of mine here in our community. You might be familiar with her. Her name is Sharmen Dye. And whether you're from Wenatchee or you're from somewhere else watching this in another part of the country, she is sure to inspire you. I've had her on the show before to tell her long and inspirational story about becoming a family and the children she's taken into her home and made her own. And now we're talking everything fitness. And when you meet her, you'll know why. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Lisa. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, there's so many things that we could talk about in the journey of your life. And today we're going to talk about your journey to fitness. And I'm not a big fan of the word journey. I think it's overused. However, I think that you embody a journey of all the things that you've set out to do in your life. So real briefly, just introduce yourself to our audience for anyone who doesn't know you, and tell us a little bit about yourself and your family and how you came to be Sharmen Dye.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Sharmen Dye. I'm not sure how I came to be. I'm just here living it. Each day is a journey, literally for me. I do have a lot of children. I have a total of 6, 5 of which I adopted through the foster system. And I have one biological son. I gave birth to one son. And he is 20, almost 21. And I have a very active lifestyle, and I just like to embody life. And fitness is a huge part of it and always has been for various reasons in my life.
So I've been following you on Facebook a bit, and you are in the midst of a competition that will be over while this is airing, but you already achieved the goal you set out to win. So tell us about that.
Correct. Well, my original goal at the beginning of 2020 was I'm 43, and I wanted to do a fitness competition. Most people do, and they're much younger, but this is a goal, and I wanted to achieve that. COVID changed my plans because the fitness competition I was going to do has been since canceled. But I'm not one to quit or, find challenges that I can't overcome. So there's an opportunity for a Miss Health and Fitness for cover of a magazine. So it's nationwide, and I can't remember exactly how many began in the initial participation, probably close to 300. My goal was to make top 10. And so I'm bouncing between 4th and 5th right now. Tonight we will have our cut for top 5. If I win, then I get to be in the cover of the magazine. It's a great interview, and I can talk about fitness and my goals, as well as 20 grand, which is not bad.
Yeah, $20,000, that wouldn't be bad.
Not bad.
Well, that's where I saw this part of your story, when I saw the picture of you that we're going to show here, of you looking so strong and happy and capable, all those things you want to do and feel, especially in these times. So let's talk about your beginning. And I know your mom and her story has a lot to do with your own and the reason why you navigate your life the way you do.
For sure. And I unfortunately lost my mom in 2018 to early onset of Alzheimer's. And that's something that is a hard thing. No one wants to lose their parent. But knowing that she lived a full and active life was an inspiration for me to be able to do that as well for my children. I don't know if that's something that maybe will be my future with early onset of Alzheimer's, and I'm not willing to visit that. But health is huge, and knowing what she went through with her daily struggles, with just a slow fade, if you will, of this beautiful, capable, strong woman to someone that became very fragile. I was thankful I was part of that experience, but it also motivated me to just live fully and just take each day not take it for granted, and just take each day just full, and just every opportunity, and not be idle, and just be progressive and productive each day, and thankful.
How old was your mom when she started having symptoms?
I think it was just kind of a slow fade, but I really started noticing it probably about 10 years before she started to really decline, and it was kind of a rapid decline.
Slow fade, I've never heard it described that way, but that would make sense.
Yeah, just little things like maybe she's repeating herself or just kind of misplacing things. I'm like, that's interesting. And, you just kind of see that, a decline a little bit over time, just to the point where all of a sudden now she's not driving, and she's not using her words, and she's not wanting to go for walks, and, she's not doing the things that she used to do. And I'm like, boy, that makes me want to go for a run. That makes me want to be really thankful for the health that I have. And it's not always been perfect. I myself have struggled through health issues and overcome as well. which is my drive, in addition to how, seeing what my mom had and lost so quickly.
I think it's true. There are some times when you can hike a little harder or go a little further when you have those people in mind, when you're really trying to not only honor them, but honor yourself.
For sure.
We're still here.
For sure.
Well, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, I want to go into a little bit more of the challenges that you faced in your health and how you've overcome them and how you use nutrition and fitness and this really happy go after it lifestyle that you are living every single day. So we'll take a break and come back and share more of that. We're talking with Sharmen Dye. She shared about her journey to health and fitness. She's going to get into a little more detail now about the health challenges she's faced and overcome. Thanks again for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So you were you touched a little bit on some of your own health challenges. I know that your mom having early onset Alzheimer's is part of the motivation for you to live every day fully. Tell us about your own health struggles for the people who are watching, who are probably facing some of their own, a lot of people are, or challenges throughout this time, and how you went about overcoming those things and being in the top 5 now of this fitness challenge, or at least getting the cover of a magazine about a fitness challenge. So tell us a bit about when you started feeling sick and what that looks like in your life and how fitness has helped you.
Well, I've always been super fit. Nothing in my younger years compared to what I do now. I wish that I would, but it just wasn't where I was. At the time, I was working in surgery, in general and vascular surgery, surgical nursing, and I had a 3-year-old son, and I was feeling kind of run down. I'm like, well, I'm busy. I'm working long days. I'm in surgery. It's stressful. And then I just wasn't feeling well, and then I started losing weight, and I just had this crazy pain in my face, and it got really bad, to the point that I had gone from being a very fit individual to looking terrible, maybe 90 pounds, and just not doing well. And I couldn't eat, and I barely could go to work and take care of my son, and quality of life was terrible. So they finally kind of figured out what was going on. And the pain in my face was something called trigeminal neuralgia. It's a terrible, terrible, disease, illness, however you want to call it, but it's something that is related to multiple sclerosis, and that was kind of the direction where we were going. I was 27 at the time, and I couldn't take the pain anymore, and they're giving me band-aids, if you will, to treat the pain, and I'm like, this isn't going to work. I'm not going to take pain medicine. I'll just tough it out until we get this figured out. So eventually, I had surgery at the time, and they go in through your chin right here.
I've heard about that surgery.
Yeah, and they go all the way up. It's a radio frequency ablation. One of the first that they've done in our small area. I'm young. It's usually this is kind of an older person disease, and I'm young, healthy, typically healthy nerves, and I've got this great healthy nerve ganglion right there. And unfortunately, they were supposed to just get this part right here for the nerve that was hurting. But because my nerves were so healthy, they went in and did the procedure, but the whole side of my left face is actually numb. So I can't feel. It's kind of a joke. I coach volleyball, I get hit with a volleyball. They're like, oh, did that hurt? I'm like, yeah, harder, hit it harder.
Even
so
now you can't feel it?
No. And that's part of my story is I love to smile.
Have a full smile. I'm glad for that.
I couldn't smile. My face actually drooped. And when I'm tired, sometimes you can see that. But I had to teach myself how to smile, because right up here, there's a muscle. And so I just sat in front of the mirror, and I'm like, I'm not gonna, I'm glad the pain's gone, but I can't not smile. I don't care about eating, I gotta smile. So I just taught myself how to smile up here, just like muscle memory, until this is my first fitness challenge, until I could smile again, and I could just feel it right here. And I'm like, okay, perfect. So I smile a lot, mostly because I don't want to look like I'm not smiling. And mostly because I can now, because there was a time that I couldn't, and that was terrible. So I pushed through that, learned how to
There's a big lesson just in that right there about smiling and how we take our smile for granted.
Ah, yes.
And
it's easy to get it.
Right now our faces are covered, and we're not walking down the street and running into people as much as we used to or are used to doing. But that's a good reminder for me. I hope people who are watching will think about that as well, that smiling, it is a gift in itself.
Yes. And my little COVID mask is, yes, I'm smiling. And you can see it in your eyes. You can tell when people are smiling, but you know, my mask indeed is, if I have to wear it, yes, I'm smiling. I'm smiling under here, guys.
You managed to recreate your smile and heal yourself in that way. And what came next for you?
So after that, I mean, I'm like, gosh, you know, I've got this kiddo. I have stuff to do. So I just worked on getting back to being healthy and gaining my weight back. And I was really, really deconditioned, like skin and bones and no muscle. And I'm like, this isn't going to fly. So by the time I was 30, I had, you know, I'd gotten back in shape. I had gotten my weight back up. And that's really about the time that I started getting into fitness. And shortly thereafter, I started running. And I'm like, oh, I like this. I made some changes with work, and I didn't work in surgery, so I didn't work as much. And so that helped me kind of regulate my time and quality of life, little tweaks there, because mind and body is certainly related. And if I'm working all the time, you know, I don't have time to work out. I don't have time to be with my family, and that's a stressor. So I made those changes. And I found running was a great release. So I started running. Then I started running more, and I'm like, I like 10Ks. I'm like, ooh, I want to do half marathons. I'm like, oh, I like this. And I don't always win because I'm not competing to win. I don't want the medal. I want to do it because I remember at one point in my life, I couldn't even get out of bed. I remember being so sick, I, you know, thought I was going to die. It was terrible. So I'm running for me, always smiling because I love it. And the more it hurts, the more I'm pushing myself because I'm like, I'm doing this. And then I got a little bored with just running road races and running. I'm like, you know, maybe I'll try a Tough Mudder or Spartan. And that lit my fire.
To continue, was what was happening to you physically and what ailed you ever getting in the way of you having success in this fitness challenge that you were doing?
No.
So you were able to keep pushing through that. I
completely used a healthy lifestyle. Nutrition is huge, making the right eating choices, balance, you know, and I'm the first one to hit a bag of gummy bears. I'm not going to lie. But I live about 80-20. 80% of the time I'm eating really, really well and I make good choices, but I also got to live. I've got kids. Yeah. I want to have cake with them. I love gummy bears. I want to have fun. So I adjust that and, you know, I make that part of my lifestyle. So it's totally achievable. So I don't feel like I'm always on a diet or I'm always, you know, always eating healthy. That's no fun. That's not part of being alive. So I just have this balance of making sure I'm eating the right things. I have to have a little extra protein, lots of water, and I've just learned how to do that. I take no medicines whatsoever. I have no pain. So everything of where I am right now is 100% natural. I don't take supplements, maybe some protein powder. And so that's, you know, something that I'm really, really proud of. I'm open-minded to that, but I'm really thankful that I haven't had to take anything to get me where I am today. When
you started your journey to running, I say journey, did I just say journey?
Yeah, it's contagious.
Not usually in my vocabulary. In fact, it's funny because when my son and we kind of make fun of the word, but I find myself using it a lot more lately through the times that we're in. Anyway, as you started navigating this new time in your life and really concentrating on rebuilding, by the way, anytime someone's losing weight unexplained, it is a time to get that figured out. Because as much as we sometimes try to lose weight, it's not the easiest thing to do. So if it's happening with ease, that's definitely a sign to see your doctor. So you went through this process and you decided, okay, nutrition, exercise, you started running, and you just kept progressing to the next challenge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I still am. I started with my Spartan races, which are obstacle course races, and I started with a little one, for 4 miles, and I'm like, oh, I'll do the bigger one, which is 8-9 miles, and now I'm doing the beast one, which is 14 miles, and then you have anywhere from 25 to 30 obstacles, which are pretty challenging. And I'm a small person, but I keep up with the big guys okay. And then in 2 weeks, I'll have another one. I'm going down to Boise, and I'll be doing a 4 to 12 hour overnight race. It's called a Hurricane Heat, and I'm very excited about that.
Tell us what that involves.
I don't know what it involves. It's an element of surprise, but I'll be signed a team, and it's going to be slightly different with COVID. We'll have to do some social distancing. But basically there'll be some running. There'll be lots and lots of burpees, carrying lots of heavy stuff, hopefully some mud. And we'll work as a team. I don't have any idea who will be on my team until I show up. It'll start at 6 p.m. We'll go overnight. If we do well, hopefully we'll be able to carry on. I think if the race is set up that if you don't do well, then you're kind of a disqualified as a team. So you have to meet all of these challenges. And the reason why I say I don't know what it involves is because those challenges aren't going to be present until you're out there in the wilderness and in the course. So I love that element.
Sounds like a really exciting way to go about it, but it also sounds like it might be a challenge to train for it because you have to be prepared for anything.
Exactly. And I want to stay healthy. And I don't know if it's going to be, heavy lifting. I'm going to obviously, have a great mindset and work with my team and rely on the big guys for certain things, but there's little things that I can do too. I have a lot of endurance. So I'm kind of the runner, the person that can go and go and go. When it comes to heavy stuff, I'll work with the big guys on that one.
What's your daily, like today, what have you done so far, and what will the rest of your day look like? Let's talk about nutrition, what you did this morning, and also exercise so far. You mentioned before we started recording that you already went for a run already. I mean, it's 11:30 in the morning when we're recording this, so you have to fit it where you fit it in.
So I have something called my Good Vibe Tribe, and they're wonderful people. They're super optimistic, and they're just as nuts as I am, that like to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, and hit the gym or work out. Love to do some hiking up in we call it the Saddle Rock area, which is some hills. Just some fun athletic stuff to get your day going. And that's probably the best way, is to surround yourself with positive people. And, or if you do it by yourself, just have that mindset. But my Good Vibe Tribe is super important to me, and I love spending time with them. It's the best way to start my day. Then I have coffee. As I'm training for this race, I'll have to step it up because I just signed up for it a couple of days ago, and I have 2 weeks to get in shape. So I'm gonna have to get up and do some cardio and really get my weights going, and then wrap up my evening with some cardio, and then just like some yoga or something to kind of to relax, so I don't have any injuries. So on top of juggling my work and my kiddos, I make it work.
You'll want to squeeze some burpees in there, huh?
I will have to practice. I try to do at least 30 burpees under 3 minutes as a baseline. They get a little sloppy.
They look a certain way at the beginning, and then they change.
They start out strong.
Well, let's take a quick break. I want to talk a little bit more detail about your family and the family you've built over time. I've watched it happen, and we've shared it before on another episode of the show in great detail, but also just want to share it again here for people who are just learning your story. So we'll take a break, come back in just a minute. We're finishing up talking with Sharmen Dye. She's telling us about her journey to health and how she maintains a healthy lifestyle despite the physical challenges she faced when she was a bit younger, and also wishing her luck on the contest she's currently taking part in and seeing how far. So you got into this top 5 now, 4 and 5, you said, for the magazine cover that you're hoping to get on.
Yes.
But you're okay with where you got, because your goal was top 10.
Top 10, yeah. And actually my goal was just being able to, I'm kind of a humble, quiet person. I have a big personality, but I don't really always like the limelight on me. So I just had to put myself out there. So that was the first win, that I did it. Second win is I wanted to hit top 10. And if it goes further than that, that's amazing. But it was definitely an achievable goal that I had set for myself. And I made it, which I'm glad.
What is the name of the magazine again?
Miss Health and Fitness.
Got it. So now we're talking about, you've done some Spartan races, you've done lots of some 10Ks and some other races, running races. Is running your primary exercise, would you say? Your primary?
No, not. I mean, I love to run, and that helps keep my endurance. And it's, it's actually more of a mental thing for me to be able to defrag and just have some time. But it's definitely all around fitness. I kickbox, I paddleboard, I have my home gym with weights, cross sport. I love it all.
Should we address the fly in the room?
I know. I'm trying to be cool. It's driving me nuts.
Not an elephant.
Go away, fly.
Fly. So if you see her going like this, that's what that is. We're going to keep going, though. It's okay. The audience is so forgiving during this time of, doing Zoom interviews and all of that. So we're good. Then we've talked in more detail on another episode of this show last year or so about how you built your family and the foster children who've become your adopted children. So you have 4 in addition to your biological son who's grown and in college.
So 5 adopted.
5 adopted plus your biological son. Yeah. So you have your older, and then you have a 17-year-old who was adopted through foster care, and then you have 4 daughters.
Correct. Three older boys and 3 younger girls. Pretty bunch.
That makes that simplifies it a bit. And 2 sets of the kids are related to each other.
Correct. My 2 youngest, and they're about 15 months apart.
Had you planned to adopt, or you were just trying to help?
Just trying to help. Just trying to be nice, help some kids out. They're super cute, have some fun, and they just never left.
And so going from having one son, how old was your son when you took in the other children?
He was about 10.
Okay, so
Yeah.
going from one, an only child for a decade, and then did you take the other 4 in all at once, or?
No, we started with our oldest, who was just about the same age as my son. His name is Spencer, and so we adopted him. They're about a year apart. In school, they were a year apart, and that worked great. You know, I was married and 2 kids. I'm like, totally achievable. This is great. 2 boys, about the same age, cake, financial, everything was great. And then I have a call, and I received the brother and sister. So that means we have another boy and now a girl, which blew my mind. That's the hardest challenge I think I've ever had to overcome. And so they came about 2.5 years after we had adopted our other son. And then shortly thereafter, I get a call for another one and her sister. And so therefore now there's 6. And adoptions and through the foster system, you know, sometimes there's challenges in that in itself of going through that route.
Are you at all connected still and aware of the challenges that foster care is faced with during COVID?
Yeah, I am actually. My next door neighbor, and I have several friends that are involved in CPS and Children's Health Services, and it's breaking my heart, honestly. It's tough times, you know. We all, especially if there's furlough involved, we need advocates for our children, and we need to keep everything rolling. I can't take any more. I'll support as I can, but we definitely need to, you know, stay focused on the children. I mean, people are, you know, at home, you know, maybe they're trying to work, and that means we still have some children that are having some issues and are not safe environments. So we really need to keep that in mind. And I get a little frustrated sometimes when people are complaining about, you know, some of their challenges of, you know, having to wear a mask or whatever. But I'm like, boy, there's a lot bigger things out there. You know, there's kids that, you know, they're not safe. They're not eating. They're not having their resources. Maybe school was a safe place. All of these things are gone for these children, and they're at risk. And now, you know, maybe some of our state workers aren't having the funding, or they're having to be forced to take days off. And there's it's a really, really tough times. So we have to kind of band together as a team and be positive.
I agree with that, and how people, like the focus, I feel like this is such an opportunity to learn about ourselves and learn about the people around us, and the lessons are abundant. And I don't think it's anyone else's responsibility but our own to heed those lessons and learn from this time. I have a friend who works in social work, and she's gone and stayed at the hotel with children because they don't have homes to place them in. And there, you know, all of these different things that are happening, and we cannot imagine what that is like. And I think that, and I've said it before, this is the first time some people are uncomfortable in their whole lives, and they don't know what to do with that. And so we can rise, and we can overcome challenges that are just insurmountable. They seem insurmountable. And you're an example of that. So that's why I wanted to have you on, for sure, to share your side of that story.
I believe in embracing discomfort. And that's kind of just something that you have to be able to take the good with the bad. Had I not gone through a lot of things that I've gone through in my life, I wouldn't be as strong or capable as I am. And therefore, because I'm able to pass that on to, you know, my children, or, you know, inspire maybe others, or help someone, because I've gone through that myself, and I'm not afraid of being uncomfortable at all.
Well, I appreciate you sharing your story. And I want to say something, end on a light note here. You know how once you get ready to get the fly swatter, the fly disappears?
Yeah.
So because we address the fly is hiding somewhere, because I haven't seen it.
I saw it a couple of times. I'm trying to maintain eye contact.
I'm not seeing it buzzing quite like it was. So anyway, that's the funny part. But thank you so much for sharing your story. Thanks for sharing the life that I see you living on Facebook. I think you're one of the people who shares it, and it's genuine and it's real, and you're not trying to convince anybody of anything other than how you live your life authentically. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. I hope everyone still stays happy and healthy.
Yeah, take care, and good luck in your race in a couple of weeks.
Thank you. Take care.